Few things expose a musician, especially a musician in the rhythm section, like a ballad. Today we're going to look at one of the dopest ballads ever written and recorded. That's Aaron Neville's 1966 classic, Tell It Like It Is, with the late, great Walter Payton on bass. Listen, if you want to get deeper dives into bass lines, grooves, essential grooves, and other stuff, you got to join me over at the Groove School. The link is below. Now, here's a fun fact. When I was a youngin', I took about 3 or 4 lessons with Walter Payton. I used to walk to his house or my house in the Tremay area, and boy, I did not know at the time who I had in my presence, but I was immature. But enough of all that. Let's get into Tell It Like It Is. First stop I want to make is just listening to Walter's part. Let's listen to the space and the use of fifths and octaves. That's a 2 feel, right? So we're playing beat 1 and beat 3. Those are being accented. We're going from the 2 chord, which would be a minor chord, 2 to 5, 1. Now there's a G flat diminished chord, which is just a passing chord that gets us back into G. We're not going to get into the theory of that right now. So right now, I'm just going to play roots. Now, the way that this is recorded, I didn't put together a drum track, so I'm just going to play it just with bass, okay? Just roots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2. 5, back to 1. Now, I'm playing octaves. Now, the B section would come in there, but I just want to loop this around. When you get a progression that you're learning for the first time, you want to sit with it for a while and play around with it. Now let's try that same thing, and I'll do roots and I'll incorporate fifths. So here's the shape of a fifth. When I play the fifth is going to act as a whole step approach into the next chord. So for instance, so when I went from G to D, that D is a whole step away from C, where we're going next. But adding a different note besides the root is going to give it more color. Now the fifth is more stable, and it doesn't it's a stable note in the triad. It's not going to color the note in the same way that thirds and sevenths are, okay? And in something like this, maybe being a little more judicious about where you played thirds might be a good thing. You know what I mean? But let's just go roots and fifths, roots and octaves, and see, like you can. If you want something go and find yourself a tone. Fifth. Just hold on that tension, release, octave. Octave. Fifth, octave. And and then we go into the B section. But we just want to look at the A section right now. Again, if you want deeper dives into stuff like that, the Groove Gumbo course, we're talking about New Orleans R&B, New Orleans funk, all of those things. As a New Orleans native, grown up in this scene, grown up with this music. So I'm really proud of you. You want to check that out. That's linked below as well. So let's just play around with thirds. You got to still be able to hear the changes, right? Our job as bass players, we got to still have the listener be able to hear the changes. You should still be able to hear the song, even if it's just bass. But I'm gonna do some thirds. So before we do that, a 2 chord in a major scale is going to be minor. So we have a minor third. The 4 chord is always going to be major. So there's a major third. And then there's, the 1 chord, which is going to be major, which has a major third. Stick with me. So let's play this, and I'm gonna incorporate, where appropriate, thirds, the appropriate third. Now let's see, sometimes it would make sense to do that. Sometimes it doesn't. More often than you think, space is gonna be the place to be. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that one. Minor third. 5th. My major third. Now listen, would I necessarily play it like that? I don't know. It would depend on the context, right? So, there's that old saying, just because you can doesn't mean that you should, and yada, yada, yada. Every now and again, Sparingly might do something. If I were playing this with just a singer, maybe I would incorporate. Maybe, who knows? But in the context of a band situation, you want to leave space for the melody, right? You want to leave space. I'm going to close with this. Notice that I have no metronome, I have no drum track or anything. You want to be able to develop your time. You got to have the internal clock. And one of the things that helps is being conscious of the melody. When you're learning a song, listen to the melody, right? That there's going to have a lot of anchor points in there that are going to help you stay in place and yada, yada. But your time has got to be there. And man, if you can play a ballad, let me take these off. For me, that is always the mark of, I don't want to say the mark of a good musician, but the mark of a musician that I really particularly like to play with is not how well they play the flashy stuff. It's how well they play the simple stuff. So again, if I have earned your subscribership, if I've earned a like from you, do your boy a favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and the bell for notifications. Join me over at the Groove School. Pick up that Groove Gumbo course. If it's out now, pick it up. If it's on pre-sale, pick it up. All right. Groove first, groove hard, groove always. Peace. 2 fingers.